Local, trusted. This is News 3 at 6 on KBTX.
We start with breaking news this evening. Investigators are working to determine what caused a plane to crash in Brazos County earlier this morning. A pilot made an emergency landing a little before 11 in northern Brazos County. No one was hurt when the single-engine plane landed in a field near Wheelock Call Road at Lone Oak Drive. We're told the plane lost power. It's a holiday tradition that's brightened up Bryan College Station for over 35 years, and it's back for you to enjoy again. We're, of course, talking about the lights coming on for Christmas in the park. That's where News 3's Andy Krause is live for us now from Central Park. Andy, what's it like out there tonight with another holiday staple back in full swing?
Well, just moments ago, the lights display was turned on for the first time this holiday season, with over 1 million lights illuminating Central Park with holiday cheer. Now, there are a lot of families out taking in the spectacle to put a nice cap on their Thanksgiving holiday. Now, remember, you have for the rest of the holiday season to come and take it in for yourself. The lights will be on every night from tonight until New Year's Day from 6 to 11 p.m. And next week on December 4th and 5th, there will be a special drive-through event from 6 to 10 p.m. and that will come along with some special holiday treats, so you're definitely not going to want to miss that. But for now, the holiday spirit has certainly been kicked up a notch with the lights back on here at Central Park. Live from College Station, Andy Krause, News 3.
Thank you, Andy. Families in need received a hot Thanksgiving dinner with all the trimmings, all thanks to a local business, Texas A&M University, and numerous volunteers. News 3's Donnie Tuggle tells us about the Thanksgiving tradition that's been around close to 40 years.
The annual Thanksgiving in the Brazos Valley event has been a tradition for the last 37 years. Epicure's catering, along with Chartwell's and countless volunteers, made it possible for families to have a delicious hot meal on Thanksgiving Day.
We're reaching people that otherwise will not have Thanksgiving today.
That's why Danny Morrison with Epicure says he was determined not to let the pandemic stop them from serving the public.
For me, it's really good because we're trying to help the community back again. Last year we had 1,600 meals. This year we're a little over 2,000.
Elaine Wells has helped prepare the meals for the last 7 years. She says helping others is what Thanksgiving is all about.
I like doing this every year. I come here and I provide for those who don't have, as well as to go home and then provide for my family.
This year, instead of the sit-down dinner many are accustomed to, meals were delivered. Doug Welsh came out to help with the deliveries.
We're a small part of a very big event, but to hand it to the people, share it with them, to see their gratefulness for what has been given to them and to be a part of it is just a great feeling.
A feeling that Heather Eisenhower knows makes a difference for families in the Brazos Valley.
We felt more than ever, especially this year, that it was really important to do this and help the community. So I'm just grateful to do anything I can to help out.
In College Station, Donnie Tuggle, News 3.
Epicure says today would not be possible without the support of the volunteers that came out to help. It's no secret that eating healthy foods can lead to a healthier lifestyle, but that food isn't always easy to get. The folks at the Brazos Valley Food Bank are trying to change that. With 9 produce drop sites and 34 partnering agencies, they are expanding local access to healthy foods. Shannon Avila, programs manager at the Brazos Valley Food Bank, says the challenge many families face is deciding whether to spend more money on nutritional food or less on products that don't contain as many benefits.
That stuff is the more expensive stuff at the grocery store to buy, and it's perishable, right? So if you don't eat it right away, then it goes bad before you get a chance to eat it. So if you have a limited income, then you're not going to spend your limited income on items that you might not get to eat before they go bad, or the more expensive items.
Members of the Brazos Valley Food Bank say if you need help getting access to nutritional food and produce, don't be afraid to reach out. The Food for Families food drive is less than a week away on December 2nd. Another local nonprofit did its part to help feed the community. Twin City Mission held its annual Thanksgiving dinner today. This year, because of the pandemic, people were able to either walk up or drive through to get their meals. Organizers say that even though the event looks different this year, they're still grateful to continue their annual Thanksgiving tradition.
We still wanted to make sure that everybody had access to the same meal that we serve every year. So we worked with our army of volunteers. We started planning, we started cooking. We want to make sure that when they drive through and they get their meals, that they can go home and still have reason to give thanks.
Now, Twin City Mission wants everyone to know that their work continues 365 days a year, and they pride themselves on being an organization in the community, helping the community. Brazos County health officials are reporting 83 new cases of COVID-19 today. That keeps our active case count above 1,000 active cases. Of those new cases, roughly half are from young people ages 18 to 24. Hospitalizations for the virus remain elevated today. 32 residents are currently being treated for the virus in local hospitals. To date, nearly 100,000 COVID-19 tests have been performed in Brazos County. Coming up after the break, we're taking a look at Thanksgiving celebrations around the nation and the creative ways they found to accommodate social distancing.
It's all about people, it's all about home. Working together, loving our own. From country roads to our city streets, it's the neighbors we love and the new ones we meet. KBTX, the very best we can give. We're here where you need us, here where you live, seeing life the way that you choose. Oh, yeah. News 3, this is your news. KBTX, it's the time that we share. It's for you, it's for me, people who care. Brazos Valley, this is for you. News 3, this is your news.
Fly-by cameras are sponsored by Norman G. Tractor. Nobody beats Norman G. Tractor. You're watching News 3 at 6 on KBTX.
There's concern this Thanksgiving holiday will lead to an even higher spike in coronavirus infections as families get together with loved ones despite CDC recommendations. Wednesday, the U.S. reported more than 2,200 new COVID deaths. That's the highest toll since early May. Nearly 90,000 COVID patients are currently hospitalized in the U.S. Elise Preston reports from New York, where the annual Thanksgiving Day parade went on with a few modifications.
A record number of COVID-19 patients are spending this Thanksgiving in hospitals across the nation. Other coronavirus patients are recovering at home, including truck driver Anil Gallmarker of Kansas, who is now breathing through a tracheotomy tube. He says his main concern when he got sick was his family.
I mean, the last thing I thought, and I prayed, scared that I had infected my wife and my kids and my mom.
In Minnesota, as ICU beds near capacity, the state has set up a command center to coordinate patients with hospital care.
Patient placement is always a little bit like a game of Tetris. You've got to find that right bed in the right space at the right time.
Despite calls to stay home this Thanksgiving to limit the spread of the virus, the TSA says it screened more than 1 million travelers at checkpoints nationwide Wednesday. That's the most since mid-March. Health experts say those who choose to have big Thanksgiving meals should still take precautions.
Focus the meal in short periods. So you're eating the meal, and then the rest of the time where you're talking and socializing, your social distance and wearing a mask is critical.
The annual Thanksgiving Day parade here in New York City is one tradition that thankfully has not been canceled because of the virus. But it is much different this year. There's a shorter route, and there's only a handful of onlookers instead of the usual crowds.
We found one couple who dressed up to watch the parade.
I guess if you can make anyone smile during this time, you're doing your job, you know?
Another change, fewer handlers escorting the giant balloons. They still provided an uplifting sight during these difficult times. Elise Preston, CBS News, New York.
The Broadway performances were pre-taped for the parade.
Well, after a quiet Thanksgiving, many of us are going to be stepping into a very active second half of this week and even into the weekend. We'll talk about what these big changes are that are headed our direction coming up next.
Mark your calendars for Wednesday, December 2nd for the KBTX Food for Families Food Drive.
News 3 weather from the Pinpoint Forecast team is sponsored by First Financial Bank. Local bankers putting you first. And now, local weather.
A couple of different systems set to roll through the Brazos Valley will keep our weather pattern fairly active here over the next 24 to 48 hours. The first is this stalled out boundary that basically is parked right now near the coast. But what's going to happen is it's going to make its trek northward through the overnight hours tonight. You'll notice it's already starting to generate a few of those spotty showers. We'll continue to see more of that activity develop through the rest of tonight. Then by Saturday, you'll notice we've got another area of low pressure that sits just off towards the west. This one will ensure that we keep the rain chance going through your Saturday and maybe a couple isolated showers left into Sunday before both of these systems kick on out of here. And really, we're headed for a very quiet weather week as we head into the upcoming week. So keep in mind, there are going to be a lot of changes that we're going to be watching here, especially over the next 24 hours. Tonight, we work in a bit more of that fog, some patchy drizzle at times, and I wouldn't be surprised, especially once we get past midnight, to see a little bit more of that rain become a bit more widespread. Then the warm front starts to move in. That will help to initiate a few very isolated strong but can't rule out severe storms first thing in your morning, and then by the time we get towards the afternoon, a couple isolated showers certainly possible. Then we get that second system rolling in. It helps to bring us the heavy rain potential, especially into your Saturday morning. We can't rule out a few isolated showers as we get towards the second half of your Saturday, so do keep in mind the rain potential will certainly be there, and we will have to watch for an isolated rumble of thunder before most of this activity clears on out. So it's a great weekend to just make sure you have that Pinpoint Weather app with you, downloaded, and just kind of can keep you updated with a lot of the latest information that may be changing relatively quickly here over the next 24 to 48 hours. So if we do see a very isolated strong to severe storm, the key word is it will be isolated, but we can't rule out a quick strong wind gust upwards of 60 miles per hour and potentially some quarter-sized hail. The hail is going to be a little bit more of a concern only because some of these storms may be what we call elevated, meaning they're tapping into some of the cooler air that sits in the upper levels of that atmosphere. You'll notice, though, really, most of the southern half of the Brazos Valley is painted under that green color. That's where we're really going to watch for the potential for some of those isolated strong storms. Not to say that our northern counties can't get in on some of this activity. I think it may just be a little bit harder to find some of the stronger activity trying to work its way northward, especially with that warm front in place. Temperature-wise, though, tonight, if you were stepping out, you know it's still a little bit on the muggier side. Temperatures still sitting mid and upper 60s, right around low 70s, and we really aren't going to budge much here over the next couple of hours. I really imagine most of us going to be hanging tight pretty much into the mid 60s as we head into the overnight hours. Then notice that difference. It's not much for some of us, especially across the northern zones. If you sit north of the warm front tomorrow, you're likely going to struggle to make it out of the 60s and into the 70s. But one thing we will have on hand is all that moisture to help prompt a little bit more of that fog, which will be slow to lift, especially as we get towards the afternoon. And again, we're going to be watching, especially into your Friday morning, the potential that we could see a couple of these isolated strong storms starting to roll in. I do think by the second half of your Friday, a lot of indications showing that we may get at least a little bit of a lull in some of this activity, but the rain chance lingers not only through Friday evening, but into your Saturday morning as well. Saturday, I think, is going to be the day where if we're going to find the heaviest rain in the Brazos Valley, that will likely be the time as that second system rolls on in.
Pretty weather. Thank you very much. We'll get those storms coming too. Thank you very much. Coming up in sports, we'll introduce you to this week's classroom champion. Plus, as the Aggies get ready for LSU, they're hoping to continue their success on third downs. Jessica Grunling will have that, plus highlights from today's Thanksgiving Day games next.
Leading the SEC, that's what the Aggies are doing on third down conversions this year and are tops in the nation as well. And as head coach Jimbo Fisher did during this week's press conference, we'll knock on wood for that. Their success on third down continues against LSU on Saturday. If you can remember back to 3 weeks ago, the last time A&M played in a 48-3 win over South Carolina, they were 12 of 16 on third downs and scored 3 of their first half touchdowns on that down. Being at that top in the category is a far cry from being ranked number 65 last year. The team says it's been a point of emphasis and credits being better on first and second downs this year, as well as the play of their O-line.
The O-line has definitely been a big help with that. We can run the ball, throw the ball on first down, second down. We have the opportunity to do whatever we want, and it starts off with the O-line and the protection. So, I mean, they've done a great job this year, and also with Kellen. Kellen has been playing the best ball I done seen him play. So we all on right now.
I feel like our first and second downs are better, and it gives us a better chance. At third down, it's not as long, it's very third and short, so we are able to get out fast passes or even run the ball in those situations.
They may be tested against LSU. The Tigers didn't allow a third down conversion to Arkansas last week. A&M and LSU are set for a 6 p.m. kickoff on ESPN on Saturday. In the NFL today, a pair of 2, 3, and 17s, Dallas hosting Washington on their annual Thanksgiving Day game. And this one does have playoff implications because, well, that's the NFC East this year. This one is in the fourth quarter, and Washington is leading it 27-16. And in the early game, Houston traveling to Detroit. First quarter, Lions down to their 1-yard line, and it's Adrian Peterson punching it in for one of his 2 TDs on the day, 7-0 Detroit. Nothing going for the Texans on their first drive, but J.J. Watt will help him out, grabbing Matthew Stafford's pass out of the air and taking it back for 6. Extra point was missed. Lions led 7-6. Into the third quarter, Texans still trailing by 1. Deshaun Watson goes to the air, and Duke Johnson makes the over-the-shoulder grab into the end zone. He'll just head to the locker room after that one, too. Texans take the 20-14 lead. Fourth quarter now, Houston building on their lead. Watson goes to Fuller in the end zone. It's a 40-yard score. 2-point conversion makes it 34-17. And the Texans thankful for a win on this Thanksgiving, 41-25 the final. Well, it's time to crown another classroom champion, and for this week's honor, Daryl Bruffett takes us to Round Top Carmine High School to congratulate Riker Gehring.
Classroom Champions, sponsored by American Momentum Bank.
News 3 Sports would like to congratulate our latest classroom champion, Riker Gehring. The Round Top Carmine senior has a 4.1 grade point average and is currently ranked number 1 in his class.
I think that Riker does very well with the challenges of being a student athlete. He's also one of our students that's enrolled in the dual credit program through Blinn College, and he does so by managing his time very wisely. If we have time left over at the end of class, more often than not, he's going to be doing homework for another class or studying for a test or doing work for those college classes.
His work ethic is excellent. I mean, he is very much self-motivated. He's a fiery competitor, and he does not like to lose. He wants to win, but with everything he does, I think that's what drives him. You know, he's never gives up. He's always prepared, and he just keeps working all the time and just gives 100%. You know, practice, so if it's in a game situation, in the classroom, he likes to finish first, and just about everything.
When it's time for me to lead, I usually lead by example. I try to do everything the coaches and teachers tell me, and I try to do it to the best of my abilities, and I hope that people follow in my footsteps and do what I do and try to be perfect. I think leading by example has always come easy for me. I've been playing sports since I was 5, and that was what came naturally to me.
After high school, Riker plans on attending Texas A&M University and pursuing a degree in biomedical sciences. Congratulations to Riker Gehring of Round Top Carmine High School. This week's News 3 Sports Classroom Champion.
And coming up at 10, some high school football action tomorrow. A playoff spot will be on the line for Gonzales and Rudder as they play in a crosstown showdown, and we'll hear from both of their coaches.
Well, if you have any plans to get out still yet tonight, temperature-wise, it's warm, it's muggy, but that all fuels some bigger changes headed our direction as we step into the second half of potentially your holiday weekend. So keep in mind, we are watching for more rain to be possible. We've brought the rainfall totals down, I think, at least slightly for our northern counties, maybe an inch, I think, if we're lucky. But our southern counties, you may find those 1 to 3 inch rainfall totals as we combine Friday's and Saturday's rainfall events in total. It is much needed rainfall for the Brazos Valley. The good news is this cold front that rolls through on Saturday will help to knock down those temperatures into the 50s, and it looks like we're going to be finally feeling like fall here in the Brazos Valley.
Fall weather, and a lot of folks like to get all the Christmas stuff out. May need to wait until Sunday or later in the week, not tomorrow. That's our report for now. Thanks for joining us, and happy Thanksgiving. Hope to see you at 10.